Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Where the 99 Leads. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host, and Where the 99 Leads, a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville, where we discuss many different categories in and around the University of Pikeville, academic programs, athletic programs. We've talked on recent episodes about esports, and we've talked about FAFSA. Many different topics surrounding a college education and the University of Pikeville. The 99, of course, refers to the historic 99 steps that lead to the University of Pikeville, but also lead from the campus back into the community and into the world. Those historic 99 steps also lead to Hambly Boulevard, where we have seen construction recently of one of the newest programs at the university, the Kentucky College of Optometry, and joined today by the Director of Admissions and Recruitment at Kentucky College of Optometry, Lauren Hensley. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you here. And of course, you've been in Pikeville now for a few months.
I have.
Let's talk about your background, where you come from before arriving at the university.
Originally from the Huntington, West Virginia area, moving south here for a couple hours, and am really excited to be in Pikeville. I've been in the business world and am really enjoying my job here.
Indeed, and of course, coming from Huntington, we consider Huntington neighbors. We travel back and forth, so very familiar, and it's the same type of people. At least that's what I've found. Have you found that to be true?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's exactly why I'm in Pikeville and committed to the area.
The Kentucky College of Optometry. We've seen so much excitement. I can go back to the days of the announcement of the Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine, how exciting that was. KICO has been just as exciting for those of us in the community. Talk about the excitement within the program.
Oh, I think the excitement within our team is so contagious. We're all bouncing for joy today. We began offering some of our initial seats for our 2016 inaugural class, so it's really exciting times for the Kentucky College of Optometry.
I would imagine so. And of course, KICO, as it has been called, now accepting applications. You have been now for some time. Accreditation has been gained, and the inaugural class coming this fall. Before we go further, we've seen the construction. They've made great progress. They're constantly working, but that building won't be ready for this fall. Talk about the accommodation for students this fall.
Right, so we've made a lot of accommodations on campus. As part of accreditation, you're required to have all of that set up. We have the CTC building across the street where we have 15 optometry lanes ready to go. We are partnering with KICOM, our osteopathic medical school and learning in the initial curriculum, as well as the Armington Learning Center, where our students will be learning, which was the initial home for KICOM. So sure. we have a lot of resources for our students as the building will be ready in December 16th, 2016.
You talk with a lot of students that are wrapping up their undergraduate studies and they're deciding what's next in their lives. If someone is considering professional school but hasn't quite made up their mind, what do you tell them about the optometry profession?
Oh, I tell them what a great profession. As a business person, something that speaks loudly to me is the ability to own my own business. And certainly you can do that in optometry. 60% of all optometrists own their own business.
Sure.
The opportunities don't just stop there. Research. You could teach in an institution like KICO. You can work in industry. You can work with some of the suppliers for the optometric and the ophthalmic equipment. You can work in hospital settings. So there's so many opportunities for optometrists. And certainly in this area, there's a great opportunity and the need for optometrists.
And as being one who visits an optometrist from time to time, they seem to have better hours than a lot of the other doctors that may be on call in emergency type situations, but optometrists, basic business hours usually.
Absolutely. There's very few reasons that you would have an ocular or eye emergency.
Sure.
So the hours are what I hear from most optometrists as one of the biggest draws to the profession.
Talk about admissions and recruitment. Some of the first students have been offered placement in the inaugural class. Talk about the response from those that have applied to KICO.
Well, we've had, as of today, 428 applications come in for 60 seats.
Wow.
Yes, and when I call to offer interviews, I've had students mute the phones and scream in the background, although I can still hear them.
Sure.
And we've had a lot of excitement today with those seats being offered. I can tell you that when the students come here to visit, they're so impressed with what we have to offer. We've got a great product.
Yeah.
We've got a brand new building. We've got all the best equipment. So the excitement, even when they come on campus, they leave and are really, really looking forward to being part of this new class in 2016.
How competitive is it for these students that are applying? Me being an outsider, 400 applications for 60 spots seems crazy intense.
It is, and that's what's so exciting to see the students and to get to know them. We're not just looking at their optometry admissions test scores and their GPAs. We really want to look at for a well-rounded student,
Sure.
And it's been really exciting to get to know some of those and see what differentiates some over the others to be a really good class. So,
The Kentucky College of Optometry opening this fall at the University of Pikeville, the first class on its way.
yes.
Where have you seen those applications come from? What geographic areas? What's the furthest away?
Washington, California, we've got students flying in from those areas. We have a great response from Appalachia, Kentucky specifically,
Sure.
North Carolina, South Carolina. You know, there's really no optometry school between here, Birmingham, and Florida.
Sure.
So the Southeast, we've seen a great response because it's close to home.
Right. But also as far away as the West Coast.
Absolutely, from almost every state in the United States.
And what are some of the questions you hear from those students maybe that are coming here for an interview and preparing to travel to Eastern Kentucky from perhaps the West Coast? They ask about the community, they ask about the area, I would be sure.
Absolutely. They ask what is there to do. They ask where is an airport? How do I get there?
Sure.
And they ask about the safety of the community, which is really exciting that I could share with them how great a place this is to live.
Sure. Kentucky College of Optometry now gaining its first students. And that's so exciting. I know for you and for everyone involved. Optometry, ophthalmology. What's the difference between the two?
So for optometry, you go to a program like KICO for 4 years, and after graduating in those 4 years, you're ready to hang your shingle, open your practice, and be an optometrist. An ophthalmologist is actually someone that goes to KICOM could become an ophthalmologist. It's an MD or DO that goes through a med school program and then specializes in ophthalmology in one of their residencies. So optometrists and ophthalmologists work very much hand in hand as a team together.
Sure.
But an optometrist, you would get an OD degree. As an ophthalmologist, you would go through a medical school program like an MD or DO program and then specialize in a residency program. Those are some of the hardest residencies to find.
Sure. And optometry, the newest college at the University of Pikeville, and optometrists in Kentucky are trained a little differently than they are in some other states. Talk about that.
So this is the exciting part, there's only 3 states in the United States, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Kentucky, that offer an expanded scope of practice for optometrists. They're able to perform certain laser surgical procedures here that allow for lump bump removal, surgeries, and really to enable our patients locally to only have to see an optometrist, not travel hours away to find an ophthalmologist to get those services.
Lauren, if you would, talk about the mission at the Kentucky College of Optometry, because I know many of us are familiar with the mission of KICOM when it started, because it was a mission based on Central Appalachia. Talk about the mission of the School of Optometry.
Very similar, very similar. Not only do we want to produce really qualified optometrists, but we also want to have optometrists that know our patients of rural America and Appalachia and are willing to go back and serve these underserved populations, ones that have a training in leadership and human dignity. We really want have this focus on the Central Appalachia and rural America.
And you talked about the Kentucky College of Optometry and how there are no other schools of optometry, Birmingham, Florida, and UPike in the Southeast. That's one of the reasons that UPike was granted the Kentucky College of Optometry, wasn't it, by the National Board?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's a need in this area and there's a need in this region.
It's amazing. And of course, a lot of these optometry graduates, 4 years down the road,
4 years.
will be relocating in Central Appalachia and of course in the Southeast, meeting a need that is out there, because I understand that there is a growing need for optometrists not just in the region, but in the country because of the retirement of a lot of optometrists.
Absolutely. As our population ages as well, the need for optometrists grows, and there's definitely a correlation between diabetes and heart disease and the need for optometrists.
For someone that's tuned in, maybe as an undergraduate student now, perhaps a high school student that is tuned in, and they wonder, what's the day-to-day schedule like? What is a day in the life of an optometry student like? Describe that a little.
Well, in the first year, you're going to be doing a lot of classroom work and studying microbiology and biochemistry and working here on campus. You begin your clinic work in your second year and interacting with patients. And then later on, you go out into federally qualified health centers here into our clinics,
Sure.
and you're interacting with patients in your third year daily and seeing and treating a lot of individuals that need an optometry student's care. So there's a very high curriculum initially, and then it evolved more to a clinic atmosphere as you progress through the program.
Sure. A first-year optometry student might share classes or a similar class schedule to a student at the College of Osteopathic Medicine.
Yes, we're really excited that we're going to be doing some of this interdisciplinary education. An optometrist and a primary care physician or physician, they're going to work hand in hand in the future. So we're going to be starting that right off the bat here at the Kentucky College of Optometry. And they might be sitting right next to an osteopathic medical student in a class like biochemistry.
Sure. Rigorous.
Absolutely.
I would imagine they will not have a lot of free time that first year especially.
Absolutely. Not a lot of free time. They'll be studying. I mean, this is some of our students have been out of school for a while as we get students that apply, and some are coming from this, but there's certainly, this is going to be even more rigorous than their undergraduate degree.
Talk about that. Talk about the demographic breakdown of the optometry students. You mentioned some have been out of school for a while, so we've got an older, non-traditional student. Or is that even considered a non-traditional student?
I don't know if we could categorize them as non-traditional students anymore. They're students.
Sure.
But they lead to a really diverse learning experience. I know that as I've aged, I went back and got my MBA, I knew more. So I see those students as bringing a wealth of knowledge to some of the ones that we're getting that are 21, 22 years old.
Right. So is that what you're seeing? You're seeing a mix of both the 22-year-old who has just finished up their undergraduate and the 30-year-old who perhaps thought they were going to go one direction and have now changed lanes in life?
Yes, and we're even seeing some 40s that have gone back and had an initial degree maybe in business or math and have come back and majored in biology with a passion toward optometry.
Wow. We're talking with Lauren Hensley, Director of Admissions and Recruitment at the Kentucky College of Optometry on this edition of Where the 99 Leads. We talk about the Kentucky College of Optometry. New students arriving this fall. That's right, 2016. Construction of the building scheduled to be complete December of 2016, and they will be in classes this fall around the University of Pikeville campus, much like the KYCOM students were originally prior to the Cole building.
Yes.
So an interesting start, but we look forward to the building as well, and I know it will be state of the art. We've seen some of the plans for the building. The university has leveled the playing field somewhat for the students at the College of Optometry, much as they did for osteopathic students, by including many benefits in the cost of admission. Talk about the KYCO Advantage.
KYCO Advantage, what a great opportunity for our students. It was really important for us to have every entering student come in on an equal playing field.
Sure.
So this KYCO Advantage, optometry is such an unbelievable and intense equipment-laden profession. So when you come in, you might show up on campus anywhere else and be required to purchase in excess of $10,000 of equipment and try to finance that. So here at the Kentucky College of Optometry, we're providing all ophthalmic and medical equipment to our students: an iPad, a laptop, their white coats, board review classes, association fees, board fees. So all of this is included in the KYCO Advantage, and it adds up to about a $16,000 value.
Wow.
Free.
And that is all included. Every student who arrives at the Kentucky College of Optometry receives this same package.
They do, and they get to take that with them when they go practice optometry out in the world.
Very good. We talk about professional schools. We talk about KICOM and now the Kentucky College of Optometry at the University of Pikeville. But there are other professional schools that many may have heard of. What are some of the prerequisites for the Kentucky College of Optometry first, compared to those other professional schools?
So for the Kentucky College of Optometry, probably very similar to any medical school program, biochemistry, organic chemistry, basic chemistry, biology, physics, math, English, psychology, some of those pieces. And I would say that probably the math, statistics, psychology you might find in a law school program. But really, the medical pieces, the biology, chemistry, you're probably going to find in most of the health-related professional programs.
How important is an undergraduate GPA?
I would say it's very important. I think it's indicative of how you're going to do in a program.
Sure.
And as the classes increase in difficulty, how well are you going to perform in some of those classes? When you come here, you're going to be expanding on your learning so much and challenged. So I think a GPA is one indicator. It's not the only indicator of success.
Undergraduate students would take an ACT to gain a test score. What about optometry students? What type of pre-admissions testing?
So it's called the OAT, the Optometry Admissions Test.
Okay.
And you'll find that anyone watching on a website if you Googled the OAT. And you can find that there. The scores it's 6 parts, and the scores are all average on a scale of 200 to 400.
Right.
And so we're looking for a score here of an average on all 6 sections of 300 as a minimum.
Very good. And what type of students are you seeing? What type of grade point averages and students that are scoring very high, I would imagine, go to the top of the list?
Yeah, well, I think right now of the students that we've offered seats to, we're averaging about a 3.3 GPA with a 310 on the OAT.
But don't require a 4.0.
Absolutely not.
Right,
Absolutely
so-
not. We've seen very high OAT scores and lower GPA scores, and very high GPAs with lower OAT scores. So it's interesting. We're really concerned about the entire candidate.
And as we talk about the Kentucky College of Optometry, I think about those undergraduate students that are on campuses now that might be tuned in and considering optometry as a career and thinking about preparing for optometry school, preparing for application to the Kentucky College of Optometry. Their focus on those classes that you've talked about and how they prepare, and even if their grade point has slipped a notch, still if they score well on the OAT, they could still be accepted into
Absolutely.
the program. How many students in the first year?
60.
60 students. And the second year?
60.
Every year we'll have 60 new
Every year,
optometry
60.
students.
The classrooms, the really neat classrooms in our new building, hold a maximum of 64. So we will never be above the 64 mark.
When is the application deadline? We've talked about over 400 applications for this inaugural class for 60 seats. Those applications are being worked through now. Interviews are taking place. When does the deadline hit that you stop accepting applications for this year's class?
May 31st, 2016 is the date. We're on rolling admissions, so we're accepting students now and filling seats now. So the sooner you get your application in, absolutely the better. But we are accepting student file applications all the way until May 31st, 2016.
Let's talk about that. Miss Director of Admissions and Recruitment, where does someone begin the process if they're interested in applying?
So if you're interested in applying, first, shadow an optometrist. Ensure that this is the career that you're really interested in,
Sure.
and get out there and understand what the curriculum and what you would need to do in applying some of these things.
Right.
But also, all optometry schools use a centralized application system called OptomCAS. So you would apply on OptomCAS, and then they would need to prep for their OAT.
Sure.
Right? And take as many practice tests online as you can, and use the resources available. There are books, but really practice for the OAT, and that would need to occur at the same time.
Again, there's a central application
There is.
site. Talk about that again. If we could, we'll try to get a graphic on screen.
Absolutely. So OptomCAS is the centralized application system for all 22 optometry schools and colleges in the nation. And there you fill out a centralized application. You might find supplemental questions for the Kentucky College of Optometry. You will for us. You would upload your letters of evaluation and all of your transcripts. So you would need to do that all through a centralized system that verifies all that and then sends us that electronic file for each of the students that are applying.
Very good. Very good. As students look to become part of the inaugural class of the Kentucky College of Optometry at the University of Pikeville. Lauren Hensley, our guest today, Director of Admissions and Recruitment at the Kentucky College of Optometry, on this edition of Where the 99 Leads. What other materials required? Transcripts? All of those, the prospective student, would submit all of those at the same time as their application through the centralized location, their transcripts and those other items. What other items were there?
So letters of evaluation. So we
about
ask, the Kentucky College of Optometry requires you to have an evaluation from an optometrist that you've shadowed, as well as faculty on site and maybe your undergrad institution. In writing, when we say letters of evaluation, they actually grade you on communication, leadership, ability to think on your feet, some of those things. But they also write a recommendation letter for you. And they hopefully are strongly advocating for you to be part of an optometry program.
You've been accepting applications now for a little over a month, and over 400 applications. We've talked about the responses coming from the West Coast, all over the Southeast, and of course in Central Appalachia. Have you been surprised at all by the response?
I'm surprised that they came so quickly. Yes, they came very quickly, but I'm not surprised when you look at what we have to offer with the KYCO Advantage, our new state-of-the-art building, and the need in this area. So sure. I'm surprised at the response, I guess, from the West Coast and so far away, because we're Pikeville, Kentucky, a small town in Central Appalachia, but the students that have come and visited have been extremely impressed with what they've seen, and they say it feels homey. So that's really exciting to hear.
It is indeed, and the University of Pikeville, of course, it is a place that you feel like family, whether it's the Kentucky College of Optometry or an undergraduate student at the University of Pikeville. Talk about the selection process. When you receive applications, over 400 so far, and let's talk about the applications that are received. The OAT score is there, the GPA is there, the letters of evaluation. Who selects? Who breaks down this information? Is it one person? Is it a committee? Is it a group of people that looks at these individually or as a group? Talk about that, how the selection process takes place.
So in order to be selected to be offered a seat, we actually have an admissions committee and they vet those files. I would say that initially when you first send your application, it's me that's looking over a lot of those. Within the team with Dr. Roya Attar, she's the Dean of Student Affairs, and Ms. Brittany Honecker, she works as well. We're a great team, we're working as quickly as we can. We feel that this is a really important decision and these students want to hear back from us right away.
Sure.
So we're trying to really institute this brand of getting an immediate response to these students. So we're trying to work as quickly as we can through all of those applications.
Very good. And as you work through those applications, the next step, once you've selected, this is a student we have some interest in, do you then schedule an interview?
We do. When you're selected for an interview, you get a personal phone call from one of us, which is one of the differentiators, right? Some schools send a form email that goes out. We actually pick up the phone, and that's one of my favorite pieces of my job because the excitement over when you're invited for an interview over the phone. But you do get a phone call.
Sure. That's got to be exciting.
Yes.
As you say, for you. Talk about your first phone call to a prospective student.
My first phone call, we're actually writing down all these first so we can award them when they show up on campus, but the first phone call went to a student in southern Indiana in a town of about 200. And she happened to be the first one that picked up the phone and I didn't get voicemail. So I got to talk with her and she said, hold on, I have to scream, and muffled the receiver and I could hear her screaming in the background and she goes, okay, I can talk now. Wow. So that was really exciting, and she was here this week on site for an interview and is being offered one of the seats in the class.
Very good. Talk about applicants that have applied, they've gained an interview, and they're coming to Pikeville for the first time, many if not all. Talk about what they can expect when they arrive here for their interview.
Well, right now they can expect a little cool weather but beautiful mountains. And they're going to come here for a half day. And during that half day interview, they're going to take a campus tour. They're going to meet the dean. They're going to have breakfast and lunch with our faculty. That's really important. We want them to know who they're going to be learning from.
Sure.
And then they'll have an hour-long interview with 2 of our faculty members to really get to know them. We don't just care about GPA and OAT. We want to know, how have you been a leader? How have you volunteered in your community? How have you given back? And what makes you different from everyone else?
How many students have interviewed so far?
21.
And how impressive have they been?
Extremely impressive. It makes it even more exciting. I didn't think I could be any more excited, but then when I saw these students and their qualifications and just all that they've accomplished come on campus and talk with us, it's great. And it's been really great having some of our local candidates in those first 21
Sure.
because they're also able to tell them about their undergraduate experience at the University of Pikeville.
Very good. 21 interviews. How many have gained seats?
16.
So not everyone.
Not everyone, no.
Not everyone.
No. Those interviews are important.
But obviously doing a great job screening those prospective students.
Yes, trying to identify talent. Yeah.
And it doesn't just happen this first year, because immediately, once you have 60 seats filled for this year, you're already in the application process for the next year and beyond.
Yeah, we're 6 months away from recruiting for next year,
Very
for
good.
2017. So we're really going to end May 31st and begin in July recruiting for the following year.
Job
so we have a
security.
very much, yeah, absolutely job security. We have a very compressed timeline.
Indeed. Lauren Hensley, Director of Admissions and Recruitment at the University of Pikeville, Kentucky College of Optometry. So excited about the newest program at the university as we watch construction. You can follow construction as well. How can you do that?
You can follow that on our website,
Yes.
at the Kentucky College of Optometry website. We also like to post pictures on our Facebook and Twitter accounts as well, so follow us there. But you can watch that live feed right on the University of Pikeville website.
The construction cam.
Absolutely.
I love it.
It's fun.
A work in progress. If someone is tuned in today and they'd like more information about the Kentucky College of Optometry, anything we've talked about today, whether it be the application process, maybe prerequisites, if they're an undergraduate student or preparing, maybe it's a high school student who has an interest and they're just beginning their undergraduate career. They'd like to know what classes would be most important. They just like any type of information. How do they reach you?
They can reach me through KYCO Admissions or Lauren Hensley at upike.edu. KYCO Admissions at upike.edu is the web address or email address. There's information on our website, Facebook, Twitter. I'm on there as well that you can send messages through. You can walk over to the CTC and pop in. We have frequent visitors that pop in there and want a tour or want more information.
Sure.
Completely accessible. I love to talk about this. I'm excited about this. So I'll talk to, no matter if you're a sophomore in high school, which I have talked to high school students,
Sure.
to someone that's been out of college for a while. I'm more than happy to talk to you.
Indeed. Lauren Hensley, thanks for being with us. The excitement shows. Everyone I've talked to from the Kentucky College of Optometry, so much excitement in the offices, in the staff, from the dean all the way down. We look forward to those first students arriving this fall.
We do too. Thank you so much.
Lauren Hensley, Director of Admissions and Recruitment at the Kentucky College of Optometry at the University of Pikeville, our guest today. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of Where the 99 Leads, a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville, the leading university of Central Appalachia. Thanks for tuning in.